name is Will Howarth, and for 21 years I've lived on Herrontown Lane, and I have spoken to this group before, but I'm bringing some new evidence this time that I think will, I hope, affect your thinking about this proposal. I've taught at Princeton University for 51 years, and my field of study is environmental history. Essentially, my wife and I are both historians, and we read old newspapers for a living. And we did that in this case. And we want to bring before you 2 or 3 important historical events that have never been alluded to in these discussions. We don't get earthquakes in New Jersey very often, but we had one in 2012. All the wetland maps that you're looking at are 5 to 6 years old. They go back to 2011. The earthquake was in 2012, and we have noticed considerable changes in the amount of water that is coming to the surface. Today, we are actually rebuilding the foundation of our basement because it is soaking wet from water that is seeping in. We had to replace our road 2 years ago at a cost of $70,000 because ours is a private road. And the contractors that worked on that road lifted up the old asphalt and saw water seeping up. There are vernal pools all over this area, especially where they think they want to build. So there's that. There's been no really thorough hydrological survey of this land at all. The second important point, maybe even more important, the yellow area where you see all the houses and they're clustered right over against Herrontown Lane. Well, for years and years and years, that was a working farm. It's the flatland, the only flatland in that area. Since the late 1960s, it was a poultry operation, and they also raised corn and soybeans. And they alternated those crops year after year. Until 1999, right up to our fence lines, Steve Jordan's backyard, there were crops planted there. And during that time, the farmers sprayed and soaked the crops with pre-emergence, chemical fertilizer, herbicides, pesticides, the very kinds of chemicals that bind with the soil. And they remain active for decades. They're now banned by federal authorities. Can't use them any longer. The 7 Herrontown Lane houses that back up to that old cornfield, in those families, there have been 6 deaths from cancer over the years that Herrontown Lane has been settled. They were the first groups of families to settle there. They were the longest exposed to these chemicals. That field is no place to be building homes of any kind, not without major soil testing and remediation. And finally, I think we really need to think carefully about 30 homes, which the developer has told us will probably be priced at $1.5 million each. That, incidentally, is twice what our homes are worth. If we have a neighborhood like that, you know it will have no social or economic diversity in it at all. And a mere 3-acre affordable housing development is hardly going to counter that. Those new families, by the way, will crowd our school system, which is already terribly overcrowded. There is a precedent for what we're asking. We're asking for a 300-foot setback, saying it's 2.5 times what is required by the law. They're expanding on the 40 feet that is allowable. The council in 1999 did just that for a development that is only half a mile away. It's known as Campbell Woods. There was a nursing home proposed to be built on Bunn Drive. The planning board approved a wooded buffer. They moved the construction site for the nursing home. They granted protection from night lights, from signs, from traffic and noise. The setback became 280 feet, and that was to protect residents from one building, not 3 dozen, as we are facing. If you want to build yet another neighborhood for millionaires, you can do it, but we are urging you strongly to either return the zoning to the original 4-acre, which they've not been able to build on for 45 years, or come up with some more reasonable plan that gives us a decent setback We've been at 5 of these meetings, and this drawing has not changed one iota. And the developer is not going to do anything unless you tell them to do it. Thank you.
Thank you.